Let's go to that US report in relation to the really botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. I think right around the world, any country that had lost blood and treasure on that battlefield was incredibly disappointed. I think veterans were angry at the way it was handled in the early days of the Biden administration. What does the report have to tell us?
Absolutely, it was botched, and the fallout from that just continues, till this day, and the veterans community is very, very angry about that. People, American citizens were left behind. Afghans who were promised that they would be removed out of there were not, and $8 billion worth of top-grade equipment is in there. But I always make this point that the withdrawal is still the tip of the iceberg in the whole overall story of Afghanistan. 20 years, longest war in U.S. history, $90 billion spent, almost 3,000 people died. And for what? Like the mission and the scope was never clear, and it sort of evolved as it went along. And I think that remains in the backdrop. And then on top of that, the withdrawal not being good just makes a bad story worse.
You've got a long parliamentary line of sight on this, Michael. What's your comment?
Well, thank heavens Biden stuffed that up before the Ukraine invasion, because Robert Gates said that he's never made a correct foreign policy decision in his life, and he's made a correct one with Ukraine. But that's because the Americans couldn't humiliate themselves on the world stage again and be trusted with leaving the Ukrainians alone in the field. So they're doing the right thing now because they did the wrong thing previously. So small gains, and let's hope that the real difference is to have Iraq and Afghanistan and Ukraine in perspective is the Ukrainians want to fight for themselves. Yeah. The Afghans and the Iraqis, I mean, you could arm them as much as you liked, but there wasn't the will there. It's what General Hodges says, the Ukrainians have the will to win.
I think there's some Afghani women that had the will. But
yeah, I wish they could have been armed.
Well, I'm sure they do too.